Hello, my friend. This is Patty Dominguez here with another episode of the Positioning to Profit podcast, episode 140. Can you believe it? We're at 140. And today is a guest show with Deni Mariscal, who is known on YouTube as the Subconscious Healer. So we talked about her career as an entrepreneur, how she started out on one path and then moving to another path. So there's a whole lesson there on being able to be nimble and being open to pivoting. Yes, I hate that word sometimes when it's time to pivot. But the other side of it is that through this exploration, she has really fine-tuned and honed in on the thing that sparks joy for her in her career. And that's what brings me to the Subconscious Healer. So here's the thing. We have a whole conversation on procrastination. And while you may have heard about tactics and here are the 3 things that you can do for your procrastination, what if I told you it's not about the procrastination? Actually, it never was about the procrastination. What if it is just something deeper? And so we explore that conversation of these insidious self-sabotaging habits that show up in our entrepreneurial career. And so Deni has an intimate understanding of that, and she shares more on that very thing of what you can do. And before we get on with the episode, if we haven't connected on TikTok, please let's connect. The Patty Dominguez. I share marketing, business, sound bites that are punchy and short and to the point, mixed in with my love of coffee and of course my Gen X sensibility, all sprinkled with a side of woo, because let's face it, I'm woo. All right, with that, let's get on with the show. And here we go. Hey there, I'm Patty Dominguez. You're about to discover what it means to position your brand and your business to stand out. This show explores the stories of small business owners just like you who are bringing their message out to the world and impacting their tribe. So if you want to take your business to a category of 1 status, then hang with me, because this podcast shares everything you need to know about how to be more prolific with your brand so that you can have more profits. All right. Welcome, Deni, who is known as the Subconscious Healer at subconscioushealer.com, to the Positioning to Profit podcast. I am so excited to have you here. And the reason is because before we hit the go live button, we talked about the entrepreneurial mishaps that happen that keep people stuck. And I know that you, the listener, are probably thinking, yes, procrastination and perfectionism, or maybe the people that you are hanging around. But what we're going to be talking about this episode, and more the Subconscious Healer here that we have, the expertise is around moving beyond that, because it's not that. What if I told you it's not that? What if I told you it's something beyond that? And so I'm going to turn the mic over to the Subconscious Healer, who is going to share with us what we can do about it. But first, welcome, Deni. Tell us a little bit about your journey of how you got to this expertise of how you help people to move through these blocks.
Yeah, thank you. First, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And second, I love your radio voice. It's really nice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So how I got into doing subconscious healing is I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years, and I first got into the entrepreneur journey actually doing marketing and websites for doctors and lawyers. And I was doing that for a while, and to make a long story short, after some time, a few years, I had invested so much money into that part of my business of growing an agency that I was really unfulfilled. But because I had put so much money into it, like over $30,000 into growing it and building it, that I just wouldn't allow myself to let it go. I was like holding on to it because I'm like, no, I've invested all these years and all this time, but I'm like so unhappy, but like, I don't know where to shift. And then just one day, I just decided to take a chance and just do something that was more aligned with me. And that didn't come right away. I didn't know exactly what that thing was going to be. I was more into the openness of allowing it to unfold. So I started to just connect with a lot of different mentors. And then I fell into, the subconscious. And then I got really excited about subconscious, and I met a few mentors along the way. And then I was like, wow, like I've gotten a lot of great transformations and shifts, like with all the help of my mentors. I'm curious if this is something that I can do to help other people. And at the time, I didn't really know that this was my path. I didn't really have a clear vision for, this is what it's going to look like, because that's what I had done before. It was just like a more open thing. And each time I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to shift and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. And then now I've stepped into the role of like subconscious healer, because that's specifically what I do and what I'm passionate about and what I love. And I enjoy spending time helping other entrepreneurs, like, transform basically their subconscious beliefs about so many things like money and success and all these things that most entrepreneurs struggle with.
So I think the thing that is really important to note is that you started out in one place, but I know, because I've known you now for a few years, and you're very intuitive. Like you've also, like you've had these hints of intuition and the woo and all that. And so what's so cool about this is that you were just curious about trying different things, leaning into something and not making it mean anything except leaning into it and being curious. And I think there's a lot to be said there, because a lot of times people don't want to get it wrong, or people are just, well, no, I've already put $30,000 into this one thing and I have to stay in this lane because of the opportunity cost or whatever. But the fact is like things are unfolding always for you. And that I commend you for, because you asked yourself better questions. And I think people could definitely use that thinking in the entrepreneur space. Where you start out is not always going to be where you continue down the course. That happened for me. And I don't think enough people talk about that, just as a total aside, which I think is important.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that you said that, because when I first started my business, I'm like, this is going to be it. And then I'm going to be a millionaire. And this is exactly what I do. And I like put out this whole roadmap on how I was going to get there. Yeah. But like, it just was really unfulfilling to me. And I just remember the day I was serving at this really, really fancy restaurant, and I was at the park. And this is when I was really like feeling like, wow, this is just not aligned with me. Like, I don't want to continue working, like doing something I'm not passionate about. And then plus I was working at night because I wasn't making enough money in my business. And I was really struggling, and I was broke, and I was in debt. And then I was like, I'm working so hard, and like, I'm not even like fulfilled doing what I love. So I was sitting on the bench, and I would love to go to the park and meditate. And I just remember this day, it was around noon, and there was like, sun was out, it was really beautiful. And I was sitting on a bench, and I asked the divine, and I said specifically, please guide me into the path that's best aligned with me right now for the next steps. And I left it at that. And I was like, I let it go. So I went to work, and there was this 3-top, and they were super nice. And then this guy started talking to me, and then he was like, I normally don't do this, but I feel really compelled to give you my card. I know, it was random. And I was like, okay, like no one's really offered that before. So he pulls out his card out of his wallet, and he hands me this card, and it said, hypnotherapy and NLP coach. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. He's like, give me a call. And I was like, okay. So I called him, and then we started talking. He started mentoring me. And then one day he invited me to this group, and he used to organize this hypnotherapy group here in the city, San Francisco. So I went, I was like, what the heck? Like, I'll try it. So I go, and I started going. And then one day there was a special presenter, and the special presenter was an NLP, practitioner. And he was going to do a presentation, and he was going to do a live demo. And then I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then he did the live demo, and I was like, whatever that person is doing, I want to do that. So afterwards, we went to go get coffee, and then I sat next to him, and I asked him, hey, is this something that you think that I can do? I have like no experience coaching. I have no experience with NLP or any hypnotherapy stuff. He's like, absolutely. And I was like, what do I do? He's like, just enroll to my course and then take it from there. So I enrolled in this course. After 8 months, I got such great results. And then he invited me to join his certification program that he only invited 7 people, and it was his first certification program. So I enrolled, and then a year later, he asked me to train for him because I got such great results, and coach for him for his group. And now that's one of the things that I do. I like coach and train for him as well as, my own business. And that's just kind of how it happened. I didn't even plan it. I was just like stepping into like, ooh, I'm curious about this group. Yes, I'll accept your card. Yes, I'll make that call. I was just in flow, and it happened so naturally.
I love it. I love the way that it unfolded. The first part of it is like asking your guides for help. I resonate with that. That's amazing. And then just like allowing things to naturally unfold. And I feel like you've come into this space where you love what you do, right? It's no longer heavy. And so there's definitely a light about what you do. And I love what you said before we hit the live button around people think that it's procrastination. People think it's their perfectionism. People think is that they don't have clarity on purpose or what have you. And then, or like, if this, then that. And so what you have clarity on that you can help people is with this whole notion, like, it's not about that. Can you tell us a little bit more what you mean by that? Because this is massive. I think this is massive.
Yeah. Thank you. I would love that. So usually when I talk to people that come to me initially for a consultation and then become clients, they come to me because they think they want more confidence and they want to stop their procrastination. And that's why they come to me. Okay. But then when I talk to them and I consult with them with the techniques and the processes that I love and know very well, we come to unfold that the procrastination is a byproduct of something deeper. And that something deeper is what is creating the procrastination and the fear and the self-doubt and all these things. And it stems back from something that, some sort of traumatic event that happened to you in the past, and you're carrying it with you. And then, so when you're put in the situations of like being an entrepreneur, you have to wear so many hats and there's so many things you have to do, like put yourself out there, that these start to bubble and rise to the surface. So then entrepreneurs tell themselves, well, if I just wouldn't procrastinate and if I just had more confidence, everything would be fine. So they try to address the problem directly to the procrastination and the confidence, but that's not the real issue. The real issue in my experience has been people just don't feel good enough. They lack self-love. They lack worthiness. That's why it's for people out there that struggle with asking for money or asking for the sale. It goes back to those things, the lack of self-worth and the lack of self-love. And that's what's tied to that behavior of procrastinations, because why would you want to pursue something that causes you pain? And this is unconscious. You're unconsciously doing, like, repelling against something. So you go vacuum your house for the 5th time, or you go shopping, or you go do laundry instead of actually doing the things you need to do to grow your business. But it's not really your fault. It's just that the unconscious is running you and you're just not aware that that's what it is.
All right, we are about halfway through with the show, and I wanted to stop by with a question for you. Do you consider yourself smart, driven, and in control of your life, but for some reason growing your business is this strange exception? Or maybe you are able to start projects, but then quickly go into procrastination mode because you're not quite sure if you got it all right, or finding yourself avoiding figuring things out because you're not sure if you really have what it takes to grow your business. Think about it. All this self-doubt, imagine what it's costing you. And some part of you thinks, am I able to do this entrepreneur thing? Listen, sis, I get it. I really do. More than you can imagine. So what I know now is that after doing this for over 9 years, working on your internal repositioning, so to speak, is how you get past this. It's working with your higher self, tapping into more of that superpower, really owning it. So I put together this 21-day challenge. It's called the Meet My Higher Self 21-Day Challenge, so that you can discover what I call the triad of her success. It's the 3 key areas that you absolutely have to have in alignment in order to create the success that you desire and deserve. So the challenge is designed for super busy people in mind. The structure is easy, bite-sized action steps, audios, everything that you need for 21 days so that you can finally release this feeling of overwhelmed, or maybe it's a stress or the procrastination or just mind yourself in general. So go to meetmyhigherself.com to find out more. 21 days discovering the tools to have you let go of all the junk that's keeping you stuck. It's possible. Just go to meetmyhigherself.com. And with that, let's get on with the show. Give us an example of a client that you've worked with that was in that situation and kind of how you helped him or her through that in order to get to the other side and what happened as a result of that. So just that process, because for somebody that's in that space, it may seem really daunting, like, no, but you don't understand, right? People get really stuck in their stories and stuck in their situation. They can't see themselves out of it. And so I always think that it just seems like this insurmountable mountain, right, that they can't overcome. So I'm always curious as to, giving a great example of how it is possible. This is what they thought. It was really this, and this is how we got through it.
Yeah. So I would love to share my current client that I work with. She came to me for procrastination, of course, a newer entrepreneur, and she wanted to build this agency and create multiple income streams, but she was having trouble doing the things that she needed to do. So she's like, can you help me fix my procrastination? Like, I have the lists. I know exactly what to do. I just can't make myself do it. Like, I don't know why. I just don't. I do it for a little while and then I stop. And I was like, okay. And I was like, what do you think that you need to, overcome this? And she's like, oh, I just need more confidence. And I was like, okay. Interesting. Okay, well, let's find out. So then we started through my process, and I, asked her a few questions. And what ended up happening is that she grew up in a big family, and money was scarce, and a lot of stuff was going on when she was a young girl, and it gave her the identity of someone who is in, I guess for most people to understand, that lack mentality, right? Like where you compare yourself to people, or you don't believe that you can have it, that you can't have it, or that success is just for everyone, but not you. And then she had a lot of fears around putting herself out there because of a lot of things that she struggled with as a young child. So then that was manifesting in procrastination. So once we identified that it wasn't actually a procrastination problem, it was like a self-worth issue, a self-love issue, and just healing those traumatic events that happened in her childhood, she totally transformed into some different person. Like, if I could just show you a before and after picture, like when she came to me, she was in a dark room, and she wasn't hunched over, but she was slouched in her chair.
Yeah, slumped.
And kind of slumped over, and her room was kind of dim. And then progressing over the months when we worked together, she showed up with a crisp white shirt, and her hair was really nicely combed. The back was really lit. The way that she expressed herself was so different. And, when I'm talking about this, it may seem like big deal. She just dresses different and it's brighter, but it's not about that. It's about the way that she was showing up. Yeah. It's completely different. Her demeanor was different. And it was this confidence that you just can't, it's like a beingness of confidence. Have you ever seen a person when they walk in a room and they have this confidence, charisma, but you can't really put your finger on it? You're like, that's it. Whatever that person has, I want to embody it. That's the kind of beingness that she embodied after working with me. It wasn't a thing I have to constant. I think she was saying that she had to look herself in the mirror and tell herself that she loved herself over and over and over and over and over again, but that didn't really work for her. Right? It was just now I don't have to tell myself over and over and over that I am something. I just know that I am.
Wow. That's amazing. That was really cool. Yeah. Well, it goes to the level of as we know, it's from just understanding the concepts to knowing it, to embody the embodiment of it, which is a totally different thing, right? When you know, like you know, which is really beautiful. So talk to me about like 3 tips that people who are listening to this can apply to catch themselves, or just 3 practical tips that people can use if they're in that space where maybe they are procrastinating, or the perfectionism, the self-doubt, all that stinking thinking is creeping in.
Yeah. Well, then this ties into my free training that I wanted to offer. So I created a overcoming negative self-talk. So this is actually this tool that I created for the entrepreneurs will actually help you process that procrastination. And it's a 5-step process. And it'll teach you how, when the procrastination creeps in, most people, what a lot of gurus are telling me out there is like when this resistance, or like the resistance feelings, or the procrastination feelings rise up, just to kind of push them away, will yourself through them, or ignore them. But in actuality, that's exactly what you don't want to do. You're actually causing more harm than good. What you actually want to do is you want to ask more specifically that part of you who's resisting and who wants to procrastinate, the reason why you're procrastinating, why you have this fear. And it goes down to the way that you talk to yourself. So in the training, what it's going to teach you is when you're feeling those self-doubt feelings or the procrastination feelings, there's a very specific way to talk to yourself to get more information, so you can move towards what you want instead of like forcing yourself to do it. And it's a lot more of a, how do I want to put it? It's like building a better relationship with yourself by doing that, versus like how many of us judge ourselves, or we criticize ourselves, like you should know better, or like are really hard on ourselves. Well, what if you completely change the way that you talk to yourself? How would your life be different? Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's the free training that you're offering. It's called The Entrepreneur's Guide to Overcoming Negative Self-Talk Instantly. So if you want to overcome self-doubt, anxiety, fear, failure, and rejection, even if you tried before and failed, you're going to get the free training if you go to subconscioushhealer.com and then overcome-negative-self-talk now. But the link will also be in the show notes of this episode. And then I'm assuming through your social media handles, people can connect with you and send you an inbox. How do they do that? Are you mostly Instagram, or where are you mostly hanging?
Yeah, I'm mostly on LinkedIn and YouTube. So you could find me on LinkedIn. You can connect with me, send me a personal message. I respond to all my messages. And then if you want to check out my YouTube, my YouTube channel is Deni Subconscious Healer. And I actually there post a lot of videos that would be really helpful for entrepreneurs struggling with, the self-doubt, the fear of rejection, the procrastination, and I actually share tips on how to overcome them. So if you are listening and you want to learn practical tips and to overcome all those, just like subscribe to my channel.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Yeah. So all those links are going to be in the show notes. And now I want to ask you 5 fast questions. Is that cool?
Yeah.
So just whatever you say, it just organically. Okay.
All right, got you.
What historical figure do you most identify with?
Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, that's so cool. Why? Do you mind me asking why?
No, not at all. I just really I don't know if it's not that I see myself in her. It's mostly that I really enjoy her essence. She just like the way that she just shows up. I mean, not that I've like met her in person, but just like, reading of her and like watching her videos and like reading articles. She just seemed like she was that person that just shows up to a room and she lights up the room and like she doesn't really have to say anything. And I just like always found that so sexy and like amazing. And I'm just like, that girl got it.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. So that's what comes to mind.
Awesome. What talent would you most like to have?
A talent? Oh, gosh. When you asked that question, my first went to like, I want to be able to teleport, but I know that wouldn't be a talent. That would be more like a supernatural
superpower. And that is badass.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I would want it because sometimes I just like don't want to like take the bus or like take a Uber to wherever I need to be. I just want to teleport there. You know what I mean? So
that's super galactic. Cool. That's galactic goodness right there. I love it. Okay, what's your idea of perfect happiness?
Perfect happiness. Wow, that's a really beautiful question. My stomach is doing all kinds of twirly things. So it just went with so many things. Like the first thing that popped into my mind was like, being on a tropical vacation, but like deeper than that, what came to mind is like relationships and connection. And I thought about like my mom and like building a family and like having a really big social group of friends and just truly embodying that. That would be really like ultimate happiness on the beach too, obviously, with people bringing us like fun tropical drinks.
That sounds delicious. Like so amazing. Everything. What's your greatest extravagance?
My hair and shoes, but mostly my hair. I get my hair done pretty often. I get, so I'm naturally a dark brown, almost black hair. And I get I'm blonde, platinum blonde. So I get my hair done every 6 weeks. And then every other week I get shampoo and a blow dry. I'm a little bit bougie with my hair. Yeah. I think it's like my only I don't really wear a lot of accessories. And I think that's my accessory. Yeah. I think my neighbor once told me, your hair has its own zip code. It's like so fabulous. And I'm so like, good. Oh my God, so funny.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And then after all is said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
I think that I would love to be remembered as more that's like a really great question because I get a lot of feedback on like achievements. Like if you want, Deni rises to the occasion and that feels good. And then also at the same time, I wonder what it'd be like to be remembered as like, wow, that person really made a big difference in my life, or being around her really made me feel really good. Yeah. That would be pretty awesome to be.
I know, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I ask that question, everyone's always like, wow, that's really deep. And it just is like, it goes down to the human need, right? Just to feeling like what you had to say or what you helped somebody with, like it really mattered to them, right? And isn't that what we all want? And so this just kind of goes into that full circle moment that when you allow, as an entrepreneur, these things to creep in, like procrastination, perfectionism, and all this noise to cloud the greater purpose of your drive and desire, it's like, take care of that. Take care of that because it's not fair. You're really holding out and robbing people of the impact that you can have. And if it's just one person or a million or whatever, that's why you do what you want to do. It's that feeling, which is the best feeling in the whole world. So it is. It's like more fulfilling than any drug, than anything. It's like, oh my God, you know what I mean? I so agree with that. And it's really rich to hear people get it. So I know you're in the right place. I know that what you have to do is super impactful, and I'm just really happy for you. I feel like you're nailing it. Like you are where you're supposed to be, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. So, okay. So all the links for how to connect with Deni, the subconscious healer, on YouTube and LinkedIn, and her freebie on this entrepreneur's guide, most definitely take advantage of that because this is going to help you. I know her work is extremely powerful and impactful, and you deserve to check it out for yourself. So all that is going to be in the show notes. And thank you, Deni, for sharing yourself and your gifts and your talents. I super appreciate you. And it's just an honor to see all of the good things that you're doing in the world.
Thank you, Patty. Pleasure being here. And thank you for being amazing.
Thanks, Deni.
You're welcome.
Hey there, thanks for checking out this episode of Positioning to Profit. Please leave a review if you have gained a benefit from this episode. I appreciate it greatly, and I will give you a shout out on the show as well. I so appreciate the ratings and reviews. Okay, also for the Positioning Extravaganza, head over to positioningtoprofit.com. There's lots of goodies over there. It's a treasure chest of freebies as well as beautiful courses that will help you to establish your category of one and move your brand forward. And again, connect with me over on socials or on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm on the socials. So I hope to connect with you there. And I look forward to catching up with you real soon.